Hello, good morning, and yes, it's probably the earliest video I've ever done in a while. Like, it's just a few minutes before 6 a.m., but honestly, considering what I saw last night, I am very much excited. Oh, you think I'm just talking about the movie last night? Oh, no, I already talked about that. I'm talking about last night's episode of Amphibia that I saw. So, well, first things first. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Yes, it's Hump Day, and hey, because tomorrow's July 4th, most likely you're going to have a day off, so happy Pseudo Friday! Yes, that kind of works. Yes. So, last night, I missed watching America's Got Talent, but for the life of me, I can't really find any clips on, like, YouTube or whatever in terms of, what they aired. So, yeah, I'm kind of missing the, not really going to be able to talk about that today, but you know what? It's fine. I mean, I knew that there would be a time where I'd never be able to see everything I wanted to see, but so far, fortunately for Amphibia, that's not the case. So, with that said, whoo boy, do I have a few things to talk about here. In a very good way. So, yes, so we are halfway through the season. Last night was episode 10, and, there's 20 episodes this season. So, as of right now, we are halfway through the season. So, at this point, Anne has done a few things in terms of progressing the overarching narrative of getting her home, finding a place to stay, revealing the now known as Calamity Box to Hop Hop, Sprig, and Polly. Those are great. But halfway through the season, you're thinking that maybe we should probably, excite the plot a little more. Like something relatively big, but not too big, has to happen right now. And this episode had exactly that. So, episode 10 was Toad Tax and Prison Break. Seriously, with titles like those, you already know that things are going to get pretty hairy. So, actually, if it was frogs, I could have done the pun of very bumpy. Yeah, that actually kind of works. I mean, frogs are, bumpy. They're definitely not hairy, and they're not always warty, so yeah, that works. Okay, so, Toad Tax. As of this point in, the season, Anne has been in the town of Wartwood for about a month. And, even though that she has been trying to be a overall good citizen in the community, and, a lot of people do know her, they haven't really accepted her, which led into a really funny line of Pop saying, "That's Wartwood for you. Slow to accept, even slower to respect." That's actually the town motto. And the camera then points to the town motto, which actually does say, "Slow to accept, even slower to respect," which got a chuckle out of me. So, basically, yes, Anne is a little bit frustrated that, because she looks different, and, she, obviously is, super tall compared to everybody else, stuff like that, it's the classic people fear what they do not understand type scenario, which, yeah, it's sort of played out plot device, but here it actually legitimately works, because there is a legitimate reason, and obviously the characters are really selling, what's going on, plus, the voice actors are, of course, doing a great job, that goes without saying. So, it turns out that there's another place in Amphibia called Toad Tower, which is run by these, really muscular looking, toad people who, collect, the tax, hence the title of the episode. Well, it turns out that a lot of people haven't been paying the toad tax, which there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in a second. And so, Anne and Sprig see, several of these guards named, Bog, Meyer, and I forget what the girl's name was, but Bog, Meyer, yeah, they're supposed to be like puns on, frog related things, but that's not here or there. Well, actually, it's sort of there because, it's clever rhyming for frog people. Anyway, so Anne and Sprig see, these guys are sort of bullying the townspeople out of their tax money, and Anne's like, hey, back off. But then the frogs are like, oh, okay, you're pretty tough. I mean, obviously, if Anne is, super tall and, stuff like that, of course it's going to pique their interest. So Anne thinks, okay, if I hang out with these guys, I'll be able to get respect. But over time, she realizes that, these guys are really cruel, even going so far as to stealing stuff from people to pay off the taxes that they apparently didn't pay. But Anne is actually being really clever because there's always like one item she's stealing back from, from the tax collectors, and like, here, take this back. Just take it back, don't worry. So, yeah, she's actually trying to, in a way, she is earning respect while also legitimately earning respect. So, that's really cool. So, Sprig investigates, and turns out the mayor is actually embezzling that money for his campaign, which, seriously, how is no one, arresting this mayor yet? Seriously, the tax collectors should, take that mayor away, as long as, stuff like this is going on. Although, with that being said, though, Stephen Root, the voice actor for the mayor, does a really good job of selling how sleazy he is. I mean, then again, it's Stephen Root. He was Gordy from Dodgeball, and Bill from King of the Hill, so that should give you guys a brief idea of who he is. So they find out that, so Sprig finds out that the mayor is embezzling the money. Meanwhile, the tax collectors go to the Planner family, because that was pretty much the last people on their list. And Anne's like, okay, listen, you gotta believe me, this guy has paid his taxes. I watched him. And then it cuts to, a Hop Pop showing Anne how to do taxes, and just watching and then as Hop Pop is talking all excited, Anne is like, kill me now. Kill me now. It was great. Oh man, that was funny. That was the best. That was the funniest part of that episode. But Anne sticks up for the Planner family, and eventually starts sticking up for the whole townspeople. And basically they leave Anne alone, and then Bog, the main tax collector guy, is like, if you were looking for respect, you lost any you had from me. So yeah, it's one of those things where, you should be, it is good to seek respect, but there's a good way to do it and there's a bad way to do it. And basically, this episode was meant to highlight that, again, there's a good way to earn respect and there's a bad way to earn respect. And from the looks of it, I think Anne has finally earned, the respect of the townspeople, if nothing else. Okay, so that was toe tax. And now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this episode. Oh yeah, that was only toe tax was only an appetizer. Prison Break is the main course. And actually, before I continue on, I want to point out something. You knew this episode was going to be pretty big when they didn't do the theme song. They literally just did the title Amphibia, and they just jumped right in. No, not even kidding. So, okay, this is something big is about to happen. And so after toe tax, we have Prison Break. And this is why this episode is really important. Because in this episode, there was no Anne, no Planner family, there isn't even the town of Wartwood. The entirety of this episode takes place in Toad Tower, where we see another one of Anne's friends, Sasha, voiced by Anna Akana, former YouTube sensation. And she actually had a brief cameo in Ant-Man. Yeah, she was the one telling the backstory at the very end. The one that Anthony Mackie was talking to in the flashback. That's beside the point. So, it turns out that Sasha was captured by the Toads of Toad Tower, and she's been in prison there. But she's sort of been undermining the head guard, which is named Grime, voiced by Troy Baker, who, full disclosure about Troy Baker, he's been in a lot of things lately, and there's a reason for that, and that's because he's very, 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 very good. And I do mean a lot of things, like both anime and animation. And to give you a brief idea of how good he is, he's been the one voice actor who's been the closest to being able to recreate Mark Hamill's Joker. I am not kidding. He is that good. Anyway, so Grime is, Captain Grime is the kind of guy who is sort of, authoritarian, totalitarian, whatever. And, obviously he treats his own men like dirt, and they act sort of weak and soft around him because, he's a little bit scary. Meanwhile, Sasha is like totally undermining, what's going on because she's entertaining this one guy named Percy in terms of, sort of having him. Basically, Sasha is tricking like Grimes' men into leaving in terms of like pursuing like a new life, new career, stuff like that. And it's funny, which sort of plays into the whole character and what a lot of people have been worried about, because at this point it's pretty obvious. Sasha and Marcy are the ones who tricked Anne into stealing the music box, or the Calamity box. Anne opens it, and that's how they got to Amphibia. And so a lot of people are wondering, are Anne's friends, for lack of a better word, toxic? And you do sort of get those vibes from Sasha, because it's very clear what she's doing in order to make herself, making the best of the situation. So, as Percy, the guard, is, leaving, there are these two giant heron, two giant flesh-eating birds. And so, Grime is, impressed by how Sasha's able to fight them off after Percy led them to the castle or whatever, or Toad Tower. And so, Sasha's like, okay, I'll help you fight these heron off, but in exchange, I want provisions, and I want a map, and obviously my freedom, so I can go and search for my friends. Which, okay, sort of an alliance of convenience type thing. I love it. It's actually really a really good plot device. So they go to the safe house, or safe room from these giant heron, and so Anne talks to Grime into being like, listen, if you want your soldiers to do well, you kind of gotta compliment them and treat them with respect. And Grime's like, this actually works? And Sasha's like, more than you'll ever know. So, it actually does work, and they are able to fight the heron off. And then Sasha's like, okay, listen, I want my provisions, I want a map, and I want my freedom to find my friends. And Grime literally takes out a sword, points at Sasha, and is like, you're too dangerous and manipulative to set free. But on the other hand, I know I'm not strong enough to be able to stop you myself. So I'll make you a deal. I will make you my lieutenant. And, basically Sasha's thinking, as much as, I want to be able to find my friends, maybe being here, staying here, becoming his lieutenant, will thus give me the resources, the know-how, and the manpower, or in this case, Toad power, to be able to facilitate my needs, which is finding my friends and hopefully being able to get home. Which, okay, she is manipulative, and she is, a little bit, crazy in terms of how she's, again, manipulating people, but she's actually doing it in a way like, again, I can actually find my friends now and, hopefully find a way to get home. So, yes, this was a very good episode. Possibly the best episode so far. And I get the feeling that they are going to need 1 or 2 episodes of a little bit of levity after, what just happened. But, yeah, this was a pretty fantastic episode. And honestly, this is the one thing I wanted to talk about. I'm glad I'm able to talk about this because you guys know what I'm talking about tomorrow. So, all I can say is I am really looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather tomorrow will be a little bit better because it's raining like crazy out. Like, I mean, I got back from working out and I wasn't soaked necessarily, but, you know, let's just say my sweat outfit went from being, you know, bright gray to dark gray, and it wasn't because of the sweat, I can assure you of that. So, yeah, that was probably TMI. So, looking forward to tomorrow. And you guys are now going to know what the full main course and my full course menu is, and I will post what the entirety of my full course menu is in earnest after it's all done. So, you know what, with one more day, I think I could probably give, you know, one more hint. I suppose I could, you know, do that. So, with that being said, the final hint is this. Between all three locations, you have about 250 years worth of restaurant experience. Have fun trying to figure out that one. Although, if you are from my area, you know exactly where these three places are. But what the item is, you have to find out until tomorrow. Happy early 4th of July, everybody. Like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on the social media platforms. I am humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hoping we all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hump day. And remember, if any of you guys don't want to talk, a channel is going to be here to lend an ear. I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices.